Hello everybody, hope everyone's doing well on this Saturday night. Get the stream started. I've no plans again here. This is an unplanned sort of impromptu stream. Otherwise, you know, we're talking about, if I'm planning every stream, we're talking about one a week probably. And they'll probably be pretty boring anyway, because it'll just be me saying here's how it all works after I've got it fixed cheekily behind the scenes. Enjoying Paperboy here, Paperboy music. I'll be using this one again, I like it. Gives us a good vibe for the weekend. Hopefully no copyright hit for that. For the one before, I don't even want to mention the name. Begins with Arc. The other music was a loader. People call it the Arkanoid music, but it's used as a loader. I've heard it in 3 or 4 games. I wonder, was Paperboy out at the same time as Mikie? Let's find that out soon. I think Mikie came a little bit earlier. Don't know though. Right, I'm wasting time because I don't know what I'm going to do today. I was thinking the theme for the session should be adding some extra levels. We've just created a way of having the main menu and level 1. Essentially, there's going to be, not counting hallway levels, there's 4. So there's 3 hallways, because the last one obviously doesn't have a hallway. You're outside. So we want to maybe set that up. Although I have not made any of the level. Trying to think, where did I put the level? Oh, it's on the backgrounds. There's too many there. There's not meant to be that many. Just this one. Yeah. So we'll get rid of all these. Don't need them. There we go. Let's get this beast compiling, just make sure it all works still. Spiky. And there we go, he's in there. He's running around like a good one. He's got the arse attack. It's better than Arsenal. It's good, you can only attack in one direction, you can't mess it around by hacking the keys. You either hold attack and you attack in the direction you're facing, or you don't. So it's working perfectly, really. Hello, Moz. How are you doing, mate? Glad you're here. I was just saying I don't actually know what I'm going to do here. Possibly we could just make a few of them, like, and just have different colours. You have the one we've made, the classroom. I should probably call that classroom. BG classroom or class. I mean, I could just copy all of that. It's a whole lot to copy. At some stage, I'm going to have to worry about filling up the Spectrum's memory, surely. Go around copying them. Just copy the bits for now, yeah? I agree. I don't know how many, I mean, do I have to bother working this out, how big that is? How will I know if I go over the memory? It'll just crash, I expect. Whoops. That's not a good idea. I'm going to undo that. I thought I didn't put a label. So if we get the hallway, then we'd have diner. I could just change these, can I, just so we know that we've loaded that level? But do I really want to? Yeah, like you say, I could just change a few bits just so we know. Just draw a few lines across it. Like that, for example. Just do a few like that. We'll soon figure it out, won't we? Just a placeholder, just so we know. All we have to do is drop the correct data in there then. I mean, maybe that's going to make a bit of a boring lesson, but... Oops, I just closed one I didn't mean to close. I think it was that. Oh, I could probably get away with making it a bit wider, couldn't I? Yeah, that looks a bit better. Change Spikey's hairstyle. Have you ever heard of Little T? Is that what he's called? Little T with the perm? Change the name to Little T. Perm for the guys. In the shop window. I can imagine exactly what that hairstyle looks like. That's brilliant. Barry! Teddy! Barry! Whatever it was. Gary and Barry. Right, I'm completely lost here. At about 9:30 this evening, I had loads of ideas. I was well energetic with it. But by the time 11 o'clock came around, I was knackered. But I am getting a good response from doing this particular series. And I do want to try and keep doing it as much as possible, adding more interesting things. I like to repeat a task once we figure it out to prove like the concept of how it works, but also just to sort of cement how we do it. Begin level 1. Now that's a special case. I guess we could still have that for begin level 2. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. Yeah, let's do that then. So I'll make a new file. I guess we'll probably just call like level 1 hall. So then I can use level 2 as the diner. That's a great idea actually. It kind of does look like a shell suit what he's wearing as well, doesn't it? Okay, so I saved that into our levels folder. It's getting big now with in terms of files. Okay. So this is the exact sort of way to really screw yourself up when you, if you mess this up with all that copy sort of paste. But to be honest, we want nearly all of it. See, I was about to say it's not a very like effective way of doing it or efficient, but actually I don't think it's that bad. The bad efficiency comes where you have to repeat all this code over and over again. I could have just had like a level update and then told it what level we're on to draw the background. But for me, this seems simpler, and the only drawback is the copied code. Like another drawback that links to that is if we want to change something. For example, like when we had the teacher, we'd have to add him every time. But I mean, they do behave differently on every level anyway, so I think we've done pretty well here with the sort of base, what a level is. It's a background, and it's a player. The desks aren't going to be in there on this one, but we can easily delete them or change them into like whatever else we want to change it into. So I'm happy with the way we're doing it. It probably is going to be over the years be people laughing at me for doing this. I'd love if anyone does know a better way, you know, feel free to tell me. I can take it, you know. This is just like I say every time. I've just dreamt this way up live, like haven't really thought about it or get any experience doing this. So where do we change? Yeah, it's here. So level 1 we now want to say BG class. Level 2 BG diner. I mean, literally, if we really wanted to, yeah, we could call a different game window from this level and have a thinner level or a fatter level. Do you see what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously we'd have to create other double buffering routines. But there's literally nothing stopping us doing that. I mean, I think it would be a bit jarring on the player if the screen, if the game area changes size too much. But it could be a cool feature for something. Like you could suddenly go into widescreen for a certain level, or you know, thin screen for like if you're in a chase, top-down chase level or something. I think it's a completely different game now, really. But yeah, we'll keep the same size window every time. So as I say, a lot of unnecessary copy paste. Could have come up with a much cleverer way of doing this, but I don't really care. I'm going to leave all the desks and that because we'll be able to use that as a template for the cheerleaders. Or I think the diner does have desks. It's just that we need to have a completely different array of desks. So they're in different space and they're a different size. But anyway, I'm waffling. Basically, we're just changing the background right now. And because of the way we've done the background, where did I put the actual sprite again? Oh, BG1. We've got the background with the attribute bytes there built into it. So there's nothing in our code to change the colours. We don't need to. Our art program is going to do that for us. And I've got the hang of drawing the backgrounds now. You just draw it all with paper, basically. Then you go over with black ink. So it takes some thought. You've got to try and make sure everything matches up to a character cell where Mikie can walk. The edge of the screen was alright because I stopped him being able to walk. I've left a little buffer in between, like a margin. And so I was allowed to use two different colours that weren't black. But if Mikie walked over them, he would become, or he would permanently leave the ink colour black, and it would ruin it. He'd leave like a big black stain all over the wall when he walked past it. There's no real way of testing this. We're going to have to come up with collision on the doors. For level 1. And then we won't bother like setting up the victory conditions of the level yet. We'll just say if you walk up to the door and press F, you win. So that'll probably be in the player. That's where I've done all the other collision checking. I'm trying to think again the best way of doing it, because I could just test for collision with the door itself. We have doors drawn. Door.asm. So door is much like the player. It's not an array. It's just a single item. There's no array to iterate through to get to certain parts of the data. So this is going to be pretty trivial. Let's match it up a bit. We've got some animation stuff there. That's pretty much all to do with animation. That's drawing. That's movement. Is collision. Let's leave it with the collision stuff. See, check collisions is not a great name, is it? Because I ended up making it only check collisions with desks. I think. IX. Oh no, it'll check anything in IX, but it has to be that our sort of array. I can leave that as I'm happy with it. I'll just name this one check collision door. In fact, let's be really obvious, player door. So I like to pseudo code this sort of stuff again. It makes it a bit easier to not screw it up. This time we're not going to use the target position. I want to check if the actual player is in this position, yeah? And just to be super basic, I'm going to let any part of the player collide with any part of the door for now. But we'll use the offsets later so that we can make it so he's, his shoulders have to be up there or whatever, or he has to be halfway up the door to be able to do it. But for now, let's just say just literally any part of the two rectangles are joining. But what we have to do is look for what proves it's not a collision, because then we can return out or jump. Yeah, we'll turn out because there's only one of each of these. No need to jump to the next door. So with the player's X position plus the player's width, that means we're on the right side of the player. Yeah, that is useful, man. I would do that if I had it lying around as well. It's not quite as useful drawing on the screen. It gets a bit annoying, if you know what I mean. But yeah, if you had graph paper, that'd be epic, especially for Spectrum where everything's in character cells and that. It'd be nice to have graph paper with big chunky squares. Not like the stuff I had in school, which was tiny, because then it would be okay, but it'd be hard to draw 8 different pixels inside one of them. I suppose you can probably get stuff that's in like groups of 8, especially especially back then. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, well, this pseudocode it just sort of serves as a reminder, so you can't mess it up just with a mistake. It's so easy, even though I've done this hundreds of times in different languages. I still mess it up. So I've used def door. That proves there's no collision. Like you say, if you were drawing it on graph paper, it'd be so sweet. You'd be able to see right we're on the right edge. So anyway, yeah, I'm convinced that's fine. And then if the player's left side, and this is where it gets annoying, I want everything to be a less than. So I can't say if his right side is more than door's right side, because that would be fine. So what we'll have to do is see. This is where This is where you can mess up. Let's see if that's right, because that's what my maths brain was telling me how to change equations around. I'd love a bit of graph paper right now. So imagine if this was character cells. We're only looking at the player's left side. So if he's here and the desk is there and he's not colliding, px take away desk width. think that might be right. I'm going to need another smoke just to make sure, because I don't want to mess this up, especially not the pseudocode part, because I sort of work off that as a Bible afterwards when I get it done, if you know what I mean. It's a really straightforward equation, but I have just been working all night running around delivering bloody takeaways and counting pennies. Is this it actually? Yeah. I think that's just. It might even be the same thing, that, but I think that makes more sense. I did mess this up big time on my first iteration, and that's what I ended up. See, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's what actually happened. I'm going to change that again. And this is all old news here. What we're doing here. So if someone's watching this, just ignore it, or go and watch the previous videos. I could just copy this as well for the what I'm doing now. But yeah, that's good. It's matched up to what I've just put. Because it did actually mess me up. For some reason, I was comparing it to like the desk or something, and it just seemed so right in my head. And then I had to go away for it for hours and come back, and then I saw that one was wrong. It was, and I can't even remember what I did wrong now. Yeah. So I could easily make the same mistake again. But as far as I'm concerned, that means we've missed it on the left side. That means we've missed the door on the right side. So it's definitely no collision. And then it's just the same thing with Y. Of course not width, height. Yeah. We'll return after all of them, any of them. And then if we haven't returned, then it must have collided. Yeah, this is where it gets confusing when you've got to load it into the registers. This is where I did think I think this is where I got mixed up doing the desks. To compare, we want to end up with the smaller one, always in A. But we've got to make sure we test. Do we have to care about doing it like from the player's point of view? Let's try and knock something together and just see if it works, innit? So like I say, we want to end up with a smaller one in A when we do the comparison, so that we can do, because otherwise it's more than or equal, and then you end up with like an unsymmetrical collision where one side has an extra pixel. Right, so this is where I'm going to do it anyway, and then if it doesn't work, we'll just do it again. Oh. So I'll load that into A and then into B. because I don't think you can do that. Maybe you can actually. Let's just try it. Looking good. Compare with B. Return C, I think it is. I don't know why I always delete it, but I always need it just to, just to double check. So let's just paste it back in there when my internet loads. I don't know about you lot, but my internet seems slower than it was 10 years ago. I'm not lying. Or at least 5 years ago. I don't know if it's something to do with this virus, but with everyone using it or something. But I reckon they just turned the speed down. So there's our hard and fast rules that I should know, and I did get it right, to be fair. So C just means A is smaller than B, and then we return. So this time I want the door into A when I do the compare. But of course you can't add with B, so I'll have to load A, door X, add A. We've got door width. No, we'll have to make it. I think it's 2, or it might be 3. Oh, we know it's 2. Yeah, that's a door there. Where was I? Player collisions. Alright. Actually, that's fine. We can just leave that in A. Load B, player X. As long as that does work. I can't remember if you can just load B with a non-constant. I think you can, actually. And that's ready, isn't it? Alright, so that's the X side's done. Put that into B. Yeah, we finally used player height. Again, we'll probably end up changing that to some sort of offset. We don't want to, as soon as his head collides with the bottom of the door, we don't want him to be able to use the door. This will do for now. So we have the door Y and B. That one in there. If it's smaller than again, perfect. To create door height. Let's do it now. I think that's actually 32. Yeah. 4, 6, 8. Yeah. So as always, Y is in lines or pixels, and that's in bytes. So the last thing is just to add load B with player Y, compare B, return C, flag. So if we get this far, else we collided. And luckily, because there's only one door in each level and one player, we don't need any of that looping like we did before. So we can just literally return out if there's no collision. And if there is, we can just call like a method or a routine saying we've collided, or we can just do it right in here. I've been saying I'm rolling a cigarette for a while now, so I'm going to actually do that just while I think about the best way, what to do when now we've collided. We really want to look for a button press. We also want to check, has he got enough of the hearts to leave the level. So basically there'll be a ball saying door open, or door open is probably quite a good one. I'll think about it now. I'm going to call it door ready. That's a good enough name. Because we only called it collision detected. That's not a very good name, the one we use there. But I can't be bothered to change it right now. So we could do the same thing there, like door collision detected, and then we could have a routine checking that every time. Just reading your message. It's true. The only reason I'm doing this really is because I'm interested in how old developers made their games. I am also interested in like their new ones. No, that's good. I don't mind off topic. That's all good. That's what we're here for. If something pops into your head that's interesting, definitely say it. I mean, there'll be an occasion where I'm really thinking about something and someone writes something off topic, and I'll probably just ignore it. You know, I'll read it and I will ingest it, but I won't have brain power to reply to it. But that's a rare thing, really, unless I just don't see it in time. I'm not going to probably answer something 10 minutes after someone's read it. Oh, my brain's hurting because I'm thinking I could easily just say like door collision detected, but then I've got to check every single frame. Surely there's a way of just actually, because there's only one door and one player, just triggering what we want to happen. To be honest, it's not a great deal of difference. Yeah, that's it. I do. I love the fact that they've done that 8x1 eventually. As far as I know, I'm not an expert on the spectrum and the technology around it, but that's a relatively new thing. That 8x1, as far as I know. But then I do see like your game had some sort of trick going on where it seemed like it had more colours. Yeah, I think the Commodore's an interesting one because I think they did have control over the palette, like they could change that. But obviously you don't get to change it at runtime. I don't think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They said they tend to look a little bit washed out, and when I saw that on the emulator, I did. It reminded me of when I first plugged in my Commodore, having played the Spectrum for many years, and then the NES. I remember plugging in a Commodore after getting it. My dad brought it home. He got it really cheap with loads of games. Like it was way out of date by that point. You know, it was one of them. It was in a time where it was just so out of date, and no one. It wasn't nostalgic for anyone. You know, it was just a piece of crap. But I got it. You know, I was a youngster, and I turned it on, and I remember it looking a bit washed out. But I didn't mind. It didn't like look bad. I'd love to figure out some multicolor, like just on my own. You know, I don't want to go through a whole tutorial on the 8x1. I'm not that interested in implementing that. I think that's so advanced for me. Maybe one day when I've done everything else and made some games, maybe I would want to. Is it? Yeah. I'm gonna have to start to learn to mess around with the colours more. I get frightened by them. I just do them and then I leave it. Leave it. I think I am gonna do the same thing here as well, just to have a ball to tell us if we're colliding with the door or not. It keeps it more self-contained. Like that routine I just wrote now just sets the ball. I wonder if the word detected is even needed, but I suppose it does make it clearer. I will change that in a minute to desk later. So I'll use that convenience one again. It really is convenient. That I highly recommend doing that. I've sort of only just thought of doing that. Works brilliant for the states. It's even better than true or false. I mean, true or false is just this kind of state, isn't it? It can only be true or false. It can't be both at the same time. That's what a state is, really. It's really straightforward stuff when you look at it like this. As long as you can break it into tiny little logical steps, you're all good. It's then remembering them steps, isn't it? When you try and reproduce it, if you miss one step and it doesn't work, you're like, why is it not working? But basically, that's going to change to 1. I need to somehow change it to false now. Could just do it uh, right here. I'll get rid of that. Oh, I haven't even tested it yet. At least let's leave it. Okay, so we're going to set the ball to false, check it every frame, and if it is true, set it to true. So as long as we do our whatever we're going to do with it after that's called in the loop, we're going to be all good. Monochrome is bloody good. I mean, this, what I'm doing here, is monochrome, isn't it? But we're not, it's not like, I've managed to make it look kind of like it's not with the edge bit, but it's not booting at the moment. But let's fix that while we got it there. Line 23 of level 1. Oh, of course it draws it as well. I was just thinking it was just the colours, but of course it does have to draw it. We actually draw the background every frame, as you see. That's how you don't have to delete the player or anything. Let's just get it compiling again. Oh, 24. There's probably going to be loads of these errors. Wow. Okay, that's bad when you see that, because you know the code is messed up and you've got to change something. And I bet it's where I was loading B. It is, so you can't do that. That's a shame. But no biggie. Because we can just load it into A and move it like that. Ooh. Oh, I've just nudged it all down, haven't I? Yeah. Let's just compile this to make sure. Yeah. So there's a problem that I want that in A. So I have to move that, don't I? Oh, there we go. That's fine. It was just what I thought then. Ah, and it compiles now, that's good. And it works. Of course, I mean it probably is setting the ball when we go over here, but we wouldn't know. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. While we're in here, it should only do this if we collide with the door. We'll call that set border pink. It's a nice little debug tool, I find. The only thing is, I'm not bothering to set it back to black every frame. I guess I could just do that here. Border change, yeah, man. Let's do a set border blue. Again, this is here. It's just my debugging. It's just an easy, quick way of just seeing, making sure we collide. So now it'll be black in the main menu, and then it should pretty much go to blue straight away, and then pink when we collide with the door. Then we know pretty much everything's working. So it's black, it's not blue. Interesting. That is interesting. Let's see if it goes pink. No, it doesn't. We're not. Was it? Yeah, the border change. I have seen one game where actually it remained in the game as well, and I actually thought it was quite a cool feature. Can't remember what game it was, but the border flashes when you collide and stuff. It's like one of them 4K games. Why is that not working? That's a bit odd. I mean, I could understand the this one maybe not working. Don't think we've even called that yet. But still, what? Why was that not working? Should be, according to me. Unless maybe without remembering, I've set it to black somewhere every frame. That's a possibility. Doesn't look like it though. Player update. Why is that a return? I mean, it shouldn't make any difference, but try doing it there. Still hasn't worked. Funny how you get stuck on silly things like this. Like, that's blown my mind how that doesn't work. Really has. Okay, so currently, where do we check? We've got our collision checks working for the desk. Of course, we do a reset collision check. Let me remind myself what that does. Oh, that's about the target position and stuff. We don't need to worry about that because we're not doing any collision prevention of the door. We just want to know if they're intersecting, so we can call it here. I'm still a bit puzzled where we're not. Where are we calling the check collision for the desks? See the reset collision. Oh, it's in the movement one, isn't it? We only call it when we move, just to save some calls. Don't know why I expanded that. It's in the try move. Anyway, that does not matter. And there it is. I mean, once I've got it working, I may well move that into every one of the try moves, so that it only calls it out when you try and move. Maybe it'll go pink. Yeah, it does. I still can't understand why it's not going blue. Whoa, and then it... Oh, so somewhere in the code I must be setting it to black. And that'd be why it's not going blue. Anyway, look, it's working absolutely perfectly. I'm gonna have to zoom in on this so you won't even see what I'm really doing. I do. I want to see whether this is just adequate as it is. Look, that's a bit too like keen, isn't it? We can't have him standing there and walking through the door. If it was like there even, I wouldn't mind really. It's only a basic game. I could make it so he has to be exactly stood there if I wanted to. But I want to find a balance. I guess if we just use an offset of half the player's width, and then also, yeah, his height, just have him it right near his feet, you know, maybe about a third of his height. Because otherwise, if he's, you know, look, he's colliding still, he could get out the door now, and he's zoomed back out. It's just not good enough, you know, he could be here and still colliding. No good at all. So I'll shrink that down. So let's do that right now, innit? So I'm glad I left these. They help you figure it out. I think we just want to add like, where we add player's width, we actually only want to add one. Where did I put player width? Oh look, I've got one there. Offset X. That's basically what we want. That is what we want. For some reason my mouse wheel's miraculously fixed itself, it seems. Alright, so that's the X there. Now that's the left side done. But on the right side, look. I think I'll just do the same thing. Obviously if it goes all goofy, it may be I had to subtract that, but as far as I can tell, I just want to add that. Actually no, I think it is sub. Try sub. And in fact, let's just do that, run it, and worry about Y in a minute. Oh, that's worse. Yeah, so it was add. I had it right the first time, I think. Sometimes it is quicker just to try it, innit? You know, rather than mathematically work it out. I'm not a maths whiz. There we go. That's looking a bit better already. I could even make it. Yeah, let's do it even more, right? So this is the beauty of having it in 4 different things, like really laid out like that, because let's not add any offset. So now it has to be on the left, his whole body. Unless I've worked that out wrong again. Perfect. So that side's done. This side. So that is actually just the X. So we actually want to add the whole width as an offset this time, so that it will be symmetrical. And that's going to be sweet. Perfect. So it only collides now when you're actually there. But obviously the Y needs sorting, because he can leave the level there. That's no good. So we want it pretty much near his feet. So this one was if player's Y plus his height is less than the door's Y. So that's his head. Cheers, Moz. It works, doesn't it? It's clunky looking, but it does. We're easily able to adapt it. So where I'm adding his height, I mean, could I just try to change the same approach? Just comment that one out a sec. No. No, if anything, that's probably worse. Okay, let me just think about it logically again. Oh, I missed this here. It's actually starting there, this Y. I was looking here for some reason. Oh, can't click anywhere without it doing something. Too right, man. I'm definitely hoping to do some other systems as well, and I hope that some of this will be transferable knowledge. Like collision detection's collision detection the world over, and it's just about how you load the registers, and that's going to be different. I know there's definitely different ways of doing collision detection. We can do per pixel, where we check is it colliding with the door, and then we can actually go in and check is that pixel a 1. You have to somehow break it into chunks. You take a chunk of the player and that is colliding, and a chunk of the door, and then you start running through it pixel by pixel. But rarely need that in a game like R-Type. You would need that, maybe Moon Patrol or something, any of them sort of shooters. I'm just trying to figure it out in my head so I can actually do it. Sometimes I manage it, and sometimes I don't. Door Y is the top of the door, isn't it? And this is saying it's missed. So yeah, that's above. So it's this one we want to worry about. Exactly, Moz. I can't wait to figure out. I know you lose the IX and the IY, but I don't use them that much. There must be a way of iterating through arrays on the C64. So as long as I figure that out, it may be simpler. Who knows? But there must be a way of doing that. I mean, they had Space Invaders, didn't they? And if I target the C64 and then after that target the NES, I am excited about doing the NES one day. Make a whole something similar to this, I guess. Like a mini arcade game. In fact, maybe we can port this to the NES. That would be a mega project to pull off. Make your own specky game and then port it to the C64 and NES. Doable though. Anyway, yeah, this is the foot of the door. Yeah, the Game Boy, we need to check that out for sure. I know there are some game engines that work for Game Boy, but it won't be as fun as doing it in assembly, will it? I love to do it in assembly, especially now when you drew them sprites for me. That was just awesome because it saved me like the clunk. I hate doing the mouse bit, where I have to click a pixel by pixel over and over again. Yeah, even better. We can just do the monochrome. It's very specky-ish, isn't it? Really, a Game Boy. It's one of the most Spectrum-like systems if you think about it. I'm not sure what the resolution is on a Game Boy. Probably like 64 by 64 or so. I don't know. Well, it's got a pretty good version of Tetris. So yeah, this is the foot of the door, and if I think about it like that, I was thinking about it upside down. Because if I think about where do I want his head to have to be up the door, I want it to be just above half, don't I? Yeah. So I think you can just do door height times 0.5, to be honest, because the compiler would be able to deal with that on a constant. So let's try it. No. Okay. It could be because of the bracket. Let's try without a bracket. I think the bracket messed it up. No, it still don't like it. Don't like the 0.5. So I could have done times 2. I couldn't do times 0.5. It's a bit dumb, isn't it? Let's just try 2 and see if it compiles. Yes, it does. That's annoying. How can I do that then? Or divide it by 2. There we go. So I don't want him to collide now. Oh, it still does. Weird. Alright. I'm going to have to look at the screen and overlay it with my virtual graph paper in my head. I really thought that would work. Wait, how can that ever work? That was messed up for some reason. The others look okay. It's messed up. What the hell have I done there? I think that's better now. Go on, Mikey. Still colliding. Weird. Oh, and look, he's not there now. He's not colliding. So I've messed something up here. On the Y. So there's the X. Let's separate it. Do you know what? I'll just copy that. Just go through it carefully. It's probably going to still collide now. Oh no. Oh, not at all colliding. Whoops. Go back to that, innit? This is pretty much what happened to me with the desks, but I didn't have all the... It was harder to detect what was going on. Yeah, for sure, man. People were enjoying it. Like, you get little flurries. And if I can improve my microphone, I'm going to save up, get a better one of them. Like, I think I need one with like an amp built into it. And then a couple of other things. Yeah, like, you know, like when we've got some finished games on the channel, people can look at as well. You know, that's going to make a big difference. Because they know you're not just talking hot air. If you get a couple of games finished. Even as well, when I release them to tap file, that's going to get a bit of audience, you know. People are going to be like, oh, here's that retro code of TV. They've released 2 games. Some people will notice it, won't they? You know. So that's what I'm hoping for, anyway. All the games are going to be free and open source completely on GitHub. You can download them or just download them in loads of other places, hopefully. Hopefully, man. Hopefully, that's what I need. Yeah, get the filters on there. But I would like one because I notice if I watch my own video back, I have to turn, like, for example, if I'm doing it while I'm driving in my round, sometimes I plug my phone in and I can hear it and it's fine, I can just about hear it, but then it skips to a different video with someone else and it's booming out really loud. So you have to turn mine up. But mine's like clipping if I go any louder at all. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure if I buy a more expensive one, it'll be better. You know, I've just got, obviously when I buy it, I'll ask some people at the time, is this a decent one? It's not going to be for yet a while, because I'm probably going to spend maybe 60 quid, 50 to 60 at the most. I just spent 20 on one and it's not really good enough. So it's not bad. I think I could set this one up a bit better, and then it's all about getting it to the exact right distance of your face. But I think I've moved it a bit too far back, maybe. I'd hate to buy one for 60 quid and then find it was still rubbish. I wonder why this didn't work. Oh yeah, well I just thought about it when I copied and pasted that in. It's probably just going above the door, the box. That's why it wasn't colliding. Let's try and go through it logically. We know X is fine. It looks absolutely perfect when you walk past the door. So if player's Y plus his height, so that amounts to his foot, doesn't it? We're on his foot there. If that is less than door Y, see that's wrong, isn't it? That's why. That's wrong, I think. We're looking for these are conditions that prove there's no collision. But I'd say that needs to be the other way round. Both of them. If players Y, God, this is confusing because you've got to remember that it's going up, but down the screen. The value's increasing, but it's going down the screen. But I want less than. I don't want to do more than ones. I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't matter on the door doing the more than ones, but I just don't want to do them. This is actually cleaner because it's just minus. It's not equals. So I'd want to do them all the same, is what I'm saying. So if I do this one greater than, I want to do them all greater than. So there's no point. I suppose I could just do both of these greater than. If player's head plus his height, so his feet. I mean, it's never going to happen anyway. He's never going to have his feet above the door. Oh, that is correct anyway, yeah. That's what I was saying. I was saying if his foot is above the door, then return. Alright, that looks actually good. Is that one good? I mean, this is what I'm asking here. Well, I'm asking hypothetically, sort of rhetorically. But you don't have to be an assembly whiz to know if I'm right or wrong with them. It's pretty basic programming, or even just algebra or math. I mean, mate, I'm never going to turn down a donate if someone's got a little bit of spare money. But I do have a job. I've got enough to look after myself, so don't feel you have to. I'm doing this out of my own enjoyment for the channel, but I would love to create some income. I'd love to not have to go work and just do lots of coding, but that's a million miles away. Or at least cut down the hours, perhaps. But at the moment, until I get to I'm hoping. A subscription, mate, is the best one for me. To be honest, I'm not. I don't want to go and get this Ko-fi or Patreon or anything. I don't really agree with them personally. I mean, fair play to everyone who's got one successfully. Good on them because that's living the dream. But for me, it feels it's just not the way I want to go with my channel, or myself as a person, really. But a subscription on Twitch, when I'm able to do that, I'd be very grateful of anyone who ever does even one subscription, for any ever. But Yeah, like, that's a different story. Like I say, I'm not planning in my head. I'm not expecting for that to happen. So, but I do want to work out that tip jar because you never know. Someone might come along who's loaded and just dump a few quid in there or something one day. If you teach them something they wanted to know. I mean, you do never know. One time in my life, I was going pretty well about 15 years ago, and I would have been able to dump a tenner in someone's tip jar. All right, cheers, Moz. I'll figure out a way of doing that then. Thanks, man. But it's definitely, yeah, it's not like it's not stopping me making the videos. It would just be nice to have this extra equipment, wouldn't it? But um, oh yeah, I was trying to work out whether that was correct, and I think it is. Yeah, it most definitely is. I actually find it hard to figure out why that's not working again. I'm in one of them situations. That should be like halfway up the door when I collide. It's like it starts at halfway up the door. Okay, that's weird. I could try that, but I don't think that's going to work for me. No. I think I've just tried the same things I just tried 10 minutes ago, didn't I? Hmm. Oh, thanks, Moz. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. If you're in a position to, if it's literally like you wouldn't notice it, then I'm happy to accept that sort of thing. But if not, feel free to enjoy it for absolutely nothing. I'm not about that. Have I done that the wrong? God, don't you just hate it when you look at it and it looks dead correct? Oh, thank you for the follow, my man. Coda, is that Coda Milk? Coda Mick, nice. How you doing, my friend? Nice to have you with us. Just trying to figure out now why it won't why I can't fine tune this Y value. Perhaps I'm doing the wrong one. Pop that back like that. Just try that, and then I'll go turn my attention to the other one above it. Okay, so that seems like it's dead on. So what's this one doing? Door Y, player Y. I'm going to comment that out, but I really can't. I don't think that's going to work. No. Yeah, that's really nice of you, folks. Honestly, it blows me away how nice people are. To be honest, I've got to figure this out. Oh, awesome, Mick. Maybe you can help me here. That's brilliant. I never got round to doing it in the 80s when I was only a young boy. But I did, even then, I always wanted to do it, and I've only now found the time, sort of 30 to 40 years later. Or 30 years it is, roughly. Still a long time. I want to just lift the door bounding box. I want to shrink it its height. That's all I'm trying to do. So here, for example, it would be like that, wouldn't it? That's what I thought. This says it's not a what's it called? Collision. Ah, yeah. Okay. I think I have figured it out. We want to add half the door's height there. I think. No. Damn you. Maybe it's subtract. Go on, Mikey. No, it's just teasing me, taunting me. I, I can't figure it out. Um, I have just started really about. I think I started the channel about a month ago, and it was only I'd only been doing it about 2 weeks at the time, so it's roughly about 6 weeks. But before that, I'd never touched it at all. I didn't even know what load was or a register or anything. I'd done a lot of coding in other languages, like even Java and C Sharp. Dabbled in C++ over the years. So I sort of knew like how programs were written, but I'd certainly never done any assembly. It's really working well for me though, like loads of interest. I do gaming on here and get hardly any followers. If I'm making ZX Spectrum games, you can be sure to get one or two each time. Or not each time, but each week. Oh, why is that not working though? Thanks, Mick. That's brilliant, man. I'd love to have got that to that stage. I kept trying, like even a long time ago I got into C++, but I just never got to a stage on any language where I was good enough to be of any use to a company or anything like that. Sadly, I've probably been like on the cusp of it a few times. The thing is, there could be another big thing around the corner that we haven't even imagined yet. That might, and with the knowledge we've learned in here, I might be able to jump straight into that whenever it comes out. Whatever it is. And if I manage to keep my ear to the ground and keep in touch with the latest stuff, then I might be able to become relevant one day. Web stuff's quite interesting, isn't it? Well, all that kind of coding, but that blows my brain away when I try that stuff. I'm gonna have to load the game to look at it again and just try and figure this out. His head, his head's colliding with the door, and I want to avoid that. Basically, innit? That's what I'm saying. I need it to like wait until we say, well, here. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? I've been doing it off and on for many years now, and I do just this weird debugging like this. I don't use the usual methods of debugging. I do weird problem solving like this. I've always done this, you know. Obviously, it's nice having debug logs and being able to print out values and stuff. But I do enjoy this. I don't know why. I'm just, is it sadistic? Is that the word? Or I just enjoy the agony of it, and then the relief when you get there is awesome. Yeah, C++ is crazy because I thought it was like object oriented C++, if you know what I mean. I get confused with all that because I know C isn't, but then you've got Objective C. I don't know, it gets confusing. Yeah, the buzz of when you solve it is really, really fun, especially when you do some complex stuff that you've been wanting to do ever since you were a little kid, and then you get it finally done. Just it's mind blowing, isn't it? Even if someone does help you to solve it, but especially when you get it on your own. But this is really simple. I don't know why I can't do this. I've done it with the X. Within, I was just chatting away while I did it, and it works perfectly. I can only imagine it's because the Y is going up and down, and I've messed that up somehow. I either want to shrink the player's bounding box as I move towards the door on the Y, or the other way around. Just one of them two needs changing. Yeah, I started out in C sharp, and then when I had enough knowledge, I found C++ much better because you had more control over, like, well, you had pointers, for example. I mean, I haven't used it for coming on well over a year now, so I'm not going to. I'd have to practice a lot before I could write anything. I'd probably go back to Hello World and start there. But it's surprising how much knowledge does stay in once you get back onto it. You remember some weird stuff that you learned one time 2 years ago or something. I'm just going to say hi in the chat because it always tells me to try and get to 5 people chatting at once. I think it does count the bot. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 already there, at least. Because I was stuck on 4. I think I need to get to 5, and then I unlock like emotes and stuff. Oh, it's killing me, this. So remember, these are if there's no collision. So if player Y plus his height, so we're down at his feet. If that is smaller than door Y, which is the top of the door. See, that's the wrong way round, isn't it? I think that is the wrong way round. Shouldn't it have been like that? What do we have? Oh, and here it's not like that. And this one works. Oh. Hello, Vulcan, my man. You just saved me. I can't wait to check that later now and see if I've got number 5. Good to see you, Vulcan. I've just, as you probably know, if you've been watching my channel, I'm binge watching through the Star Treks, and I'm into the next generation now, and I'm already missing Spock. It's not the same without Kirk and Spock. I've just watched a few episodes with Picard, and they're good as well. I'll probably enjoy them more once I get into it. I don't really like the psychic woman. She's out of Running Man, I think. She's a nice looking woman, but it's just like it's this weird story. Every time she's like, I can sense this. It's like, oh right, yeah, well, game over then. So I'm not sure about it yet. I'll make my mind up in a couple of weeks. I actually am happier with that. I don't know why it doesn't match the other one, but I think I did as well. I can kind of remember seeing it when I was a kid now with that kid, Will Wheaton. DY is top of the door, yeah. And then DH is obviously the height of the door. So that's now the bottom of the door, if you know what I mean. That's where I've been getting confused. I think I have just cracked it now. And the reason I've divided by 2 is because I don't want his head to collide with the door. So then I need to get rid of that. And then on this one, do I want to add his whole height? It doesn't really matter with the... because you can't go above the door anyway. There's another box stopping you doing that. But I think this might work. No. Okay, I've done it reverse again, haven't I? It's so funny how this simple thing gets me. Because it is really simple, really. But it's because I'm doing everything in reverse. The top to bottom is in reverse, so it's counting up, but you're going down. And then also, I'm exiting the loop, so this is if it's no collision. Yeah, but the door is 4 character cells height, and the player's 3. I mean, really, I should be able to just check half the door, isn't it? You know? Let's try it though. I get it. So of course his movement is actually offset by half of a character cell as well, 4 pixels. So he's 4 pixels below the door is the maximum he can get to, and then he is 8 pixels shorter than a door. So he's always going to be 12 pixels below the top of the door. If that makes sense. If player Y is less than that, oh, see that is wrong. It would be more than that. I mean, to be honest, I could probably do that, or maybe on just one of them. Because with the desk doing that was annoying. I had to make them all minimum because otherwise you could get further into the desk on one side than the other. Yeah, so I had to make them symmetric. But oh, now there's no now there's no collision there on the door, so that's no good. Try just like this one here. No, still none. Funny how I find it actually funny. Sometimes within an hour you make so much progress, and other times, like I'd done the X within less than a couple of minutes, and it was like, yeah, that's perfect. Then we adjusted the offset, and it worked perfect, even better, you know. And then we thought, okay, do the Y offset. An hour later or two, still here. Come on, I've got to finish it off. So that is wrong. It was probably right the first time. Let's just copy that template. T was the player because I was moving a target position on that, like to prevent it going there if there was a collision. It's the added complication of only wanting to do half the box as well. It makes it worse. That one doesn't make sense to me. Oh, that is saying, yeah, if his feet are above where the door starts, so that it does make sense. I mean, it really isn't applicable. It can never happen the way the game's set up. Yeah, it would work doing that, you're right. I could just measure exactly. It's 12 pixels, 12 scan lines. But for some reason my brain's locking up. I can't do it. It's this one here that needs sorting, I think. Hello, Moz. You found it. That'd be good. No, not that. Yeah, you're fully right there, Coda Mick. The exact same thing happened this afternoon where I locked up. I did in the end fix it, but when I got home from a night's work, I saw a few things that just needed changing instantly. You know, as soon as I looked at the code. So you're very right there. 2 hours is about my limit, I find, especially when I'm live coding on the internet. Like, 2 hours seems to be about. After that, my brain does start panicking. But it's all right if I'm in the flow. But once I get stuck like this, I think I feel like I've just fixed it. But I've said that before. No, the same thing's happened. It's gone downwards. Maybe it is times two. It can't be that. That's gonna be. It's just gonna look the same, but it's just made it even worse, probably. Yeah, it's probably like down here somewhere. Yeah. So surely it is the sub door height divided by 2. Oh, oops. Stupid the way that set up, I think. I don't get it. Remember, this is returning if there's no collision. Oh, my brain, yeah. Oh, good shout. I wondered why you just shouted hello. I thought you'd figured it out. Yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it having all these people in the chat. It's really amazing. This. It's such a shame to get stuck on such a simple thing. I'm almost tempted just to move on and do something else. We can collide with the door. That's the main thing. I'm trying to return if it's less than. So I'm trying to get out of this. It's going to be true if it's not. Yeah, I've got to keep trying. I've just got to step through it step by step again. I mean, as we see it, checks the X. If it's past him, if the player's past the left side of the door, it gets out. Likewise for the right. This looks a bit wrong, doesn't it? Oh no, that was just because of the offset for the X. That's perfect. Yeah, man, I am looking forward to playing some games. Need to play some more C64, particularly. It actually is. we were just having that conversation actually, because when you finish the debugging and you finally get it, that's that amazing feeling. You're like, oh, that just needs to be NC or something, where you're like, oh, there's a return there that shouldn't be there, or something like that. The difference in height in the actual height is only 8 pixels, but then the position gets offset by 4 because he walks 4 at a time, and when he approaches the door, that's as close as he can get, it seems, because of the way the other boundaries are set up. Obviously, we could change all them boundaries, but I don't really want him walking directly to the wall. It looked a bit stupid. So we offset it by 4. I know for a fact this would be one of them problems. If I did come back to it after a break, I would fix it pretty quickly on my own. I'm sure of it, but so we want to make sure it gets out. See, that one's just nonsense. It gets out if his feet are above the door's top. But we want to get out if his waist, if half the player's height. Let's try that. No, it's that same result where it's moved it the wrong way. How far does that go down? All the way down to here. Wow. So it's like reverse of what I want to do, isn't it? Hello. Perfect. That just means greater than. It's funny because I tried that, didn't I? There. I tried it on both, and I tried it there, and I didn't try it there. But there should still be a way of converting that to being less than. But why broke if it's not broke? Final fight battle victory music plays. That's brilliant. Wait, I tried to add sound effects to my stream. Oh, thanks, Code and Mick. Yeah, I tried to add a sound effects thing for the viewers to actually surprise. It gave you control over sound effects in my stream, but it doesn't seem to be working. I added it as a panel or something, but I haven't. No one's used it, and I tried to. I looked at it on my phone I looked at my channel as if I was just a normal member of the public. I couldn't see it, so it's not working. Oh, GG. So at least that'll do now for that particular problem. We can fine tune these sizes at another time just to make it even more like sort of crisp when he gets to the door. I think it's a bit keen still, the collision there. Like, it's given a collision where it shouldn't. It's not bad though. It's pretty good actually, to be honest. Works perfectly. Lovely. So I guess I'll just want to do some simple stuff now, and I'm thinking like above the door there'd be like an exit sign that lights up. But I guess I'd have to draw that, and I hate drawing on stream. It's one of the most. It feels like it's very boring to watch. So what else could I try and do? I mean, we've got routines written for other projects that make sounds and melody on the beeper, but I don't think that's too good either. At least I sorted that problem out within the 2 hours. I don't want to end it here though. I'm having a really good time with you lot. It's Saturday night. It's not like I'm in a rush to go to sleep. Yeah, you're dead right, Mick. I was almost giving up. Like my brain was asking me to give up at some point, but we carried on. I think I probably should have got to the answer a bit quicker, but you can't always be your red hot 10 out of 10 self all the time, can you? I'm loving how this is set up, to be honest. It's a lot of repetition, but it's simple. And what we were going to do this session actually was make level 2, wasn't it? Yeah. The only reason I was doing that was so we could like exit level 1. I remember now. So we've set our collision detected ball. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's shrink that. Yeah, we set our ball, and that's all we need to do. So we can shrink that as well. Somewhere we want to check that ball. I mean, obviously we need victory conditions other than are you colliding with the door. But I can't make that without adding the power-ups. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, too right. I mean, the Stack Exchange people are lovely, but you can't bug them about every little problem, can you? At some point you've got to go off on your own, even if it's like a, higher level language, if that's all you want to do. Yeah. I mean, I used to bug Stack Exchange about every little problem. I can remember when I was first starting out in Java or C Sharp, I would have definitely posted that problem there we just had on there. And then 5 minutes later, I would have fixed it and just thought, oh well. I must admit, I won't carry on much longer because I keep forgetting completely what I'm doing every time, like every two minutes. But I'm so excited about this now. It's taking shape that I think I'm going to wake up fairly early. I'll do a tiny bit of prep and then I'm going to do a long stream in the day coding as well. At least another 2 hours, but maybe I'm going to try and aim at 3 or 4. Thanks, Moz. Yeah, it's one of them things. If I start coding now, it's going to go on forever because I want to add a way to go into level 2. But to do that, we need to add the hearts that you need to collect. We need to at least add something to say we've collected all the hearts. Guess we could start doing that. Why not? Let's just pop in the player. Hearts collected. Family made samosas. Sounds nice. Brilliant, Vulcan. I'll make sure I do it, mate. I'm probably going to aim at roughly midday UK time. Roughly. Don't hold me to that. It might be a little bit after. Depends how I feel. But yeah. Might be able to plug a few more minutes into this. Let's make it so we can at least get to level 2. What I'll do is we'll have hearts collected. Each level can have its own, like, I mean, there's no reason you can't put variables in here. So we could have like, in fact, you could have a constant. Makes the things easier. Level 1 total hearts. Let's just say it's 10 for now. And then we'll give ourselves 10. It can't stop. Well, if I'm honest, I would love to stop right now, but when I look up on my Twitch and see 5 people watching me, I'm excited about that, you know. I must admit, that's what's keeping me going right now. Normally I probably would have just signed out as soon as I fixed that problem, I think. But because I am tired, I've been working all night as well, driving around like a nutter. But I'm enjoying this a lot. Yeah, so we'll just give ourselves 10. This is the problem. This is why I don't like doing this, because I have to then remember this tomorrow and go back and change it. But hopefully I will remember. I won't change too much here. I'll just do the hearts collected. So we're already at that condition. So somewhere we want to check for victory. That's going to involve checking that collision ball. Let's just pop it at the top so I'll find it. Although we're going to need a different one for each level. In true spirit of how this project seems to be going, let's just do that. So I like a bit of pseudocoding of this. It's like if hearts collected is equal to total hearts, if collision door equals yes. Pseudocode good, pseudocode science bad. Good on you, Mick. I'll make sure I subscribe to that. Oh, you know, to follow that. Chucky egg. Yeah, no, don't worry. We're only going to go for another 10 minutes here at the most. So that it's mainly so that tomorrow I don't have to go and change too much. But this is probably a pretty decent foundation of what we're actually going to do, to be fair. The problem with assembly, and I hope maybe I'm wrong and someone can tell me the opposite of this, but you always have to look for out conditions. So I've written like what I would call like positive conditions there, but I need to find the negative versions. Chucky Egg would be a cool project. Does Chucky ever have random levels, or are they all designed? I think they're designed, didn't they? I'm very interested in C++. I used to make my own games in C++. I have made some basic games. The problem is they're always buggy. I never finished them. I do love Unity game engine. The only thing I hate about that is the net play. I think there are some procedural levels in Spectrum in there. I swear I've played a few. Like they weren't like spectacular, but they'd maybe just spawn a few random platforms and enemies. I might have dreamt them all up. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to put these to make them negative conditions instead. So we get out if it's not equal to that. We get out if that's false. If not, well, if... Should I have a special button? I think we can actually just use F still. Yeah, we can. Right. So all of them we will get out on, and if not, if they're all... If none of them actually are true, then we actually completed the level. I really hope I'm wrong about... This is just the way I seem to have to do all my checks. They all have to be like negative checks. Otherwise you end up with a whole bunch of labels. But this way you can just do returns. Oops. So NZ means it's not equal. If, what am I doing? So they don't have to be negative, do they? I could have just done a different flag. Yeah, so I was doing a bit cack-handed here again. So I'll just do false here then, sod it. And return if that's equal. If it is pressed, at that point we will call change to level 2. And how best to do that? It looks like I could just jump to main. In fact, look, let's do that. Let's copy and paste that. Have we even got this level 2 diner yet? Oh, level 2 hall. Let's call it diner for now. So bypass the hall. Clear the screen. Jump to main. That's perfect. I'm really happy with the way we've written this. It's coming out nicely. So then we just have to call that. Or do we jump to that? Well, we'll try both. We have to. So at this point, the level is completed. level is okay. That'll do. Oh, wait there. If we reach here, level is ready to complete. Compare true. Call Z. What's it called? Begin level 2. So yeah, it might have to be a jump Z. That return's pretty unnecessary, especially if we had a jump there. Amiga 500 plus. Sick. I had a 500 plus and a 600 when I was a youngster, but the disk drive broke on both of them. I think I'm too messy. Oh. We haven't included it. And also check victory level 1. Wait. Maybe I should just go in. Again, it's a bit cack-handed, but that'll stop us having to have loads of all the different level ones in player. Is that an Amiga CPU, that? Yeah? The 68,000, whatever you want to call that. I remember 68080 or something. I've heard of. Nice. Maybe one day I'll look at that as well. You never know. I would love to create a game on Specky and then learn how to port it to lots of different systems, actually. Okay, it didn't compile. Oh, undefined. It's not called class, is it? It's called something else. Diner. Compiled. So I should just be able to walk up to the door and press F. And then it should do something. Like clear the screen. I think that worked, you know. Yeah, do you see them pixels above the door where I drew them random pixels? So that's working perfectly now. I mean, it worked too well. We need to obviously come up with a pause in between, and there's the hallway level. And obviously, when we re-init the level, we're going to want to move the player back to a starting position. But it worked exactly as I intended that to, really. So have another look at it. So you can just walk up to the door, press F, bang, you're in level 2. Which is perfect. I mean, next time we'll look at the init. We're going to have to come up with like an init player, or refresh player, or whatever we want to call it. Just to be honest, it'll be best to have a different start point on any level, or at least allow that. So each level will have a variable telling the player where to start. When it inits, it'll move the player there. You sound a bit like Mikie to Mick. I've done lots of that in the past. I wrote my own engines. They were nowhere near good enough to be called a game engine, but they did everything that a game engine did. You just had to really know how to use it. You know, it wasn't like always intuitive. But I'll tell you something I've really struggled with on 2D though, and I gave up and went on to 3D. It was like pixel lighting. I could never like make light bounce. You know, a lot of games now they do manage to do that sort of effect, and I could never manage it until I found Unity and just sort of dragged everything in for a little while. You lot probably know a lot more about retro systems than I do. I've played enough of them. I do know my fair share about it, but I'm not as knowledgeable as you lot, I don't think. There was a big stage in my life where I didn't play any computers actually, between about the age of 17 or 18, all the way to about 25. But then straight back into it. Fair enough, Falcon. There's always time to start, isn't there? You might find that you're absolutely amazing at it once you get into the flow. I found for myself, there at first I didn't understand it enough, but then there was like a couple of watershed moments where just massive chunks of it became second nature to me, and I was able to look at other people's code suddenly and read that. You know, that was a big sort of moment. So I've made him move to level 2. I mean, short of now literally adding something big, I can't think of anything to do. Because I've demonstrated how we can just easily switch through levels now. You add one of these for each screen you want. You also add it into this enumerator that I've created, which means that you want to add another one here. So there's a lot of things you've got to do, because once you've done that, that's not everything. You know, then you've got to create this entire file for the level. But this is standard stuff for game development. You know, you don't get a whole game with a few lines of code, do you? So I do have to figure out how much memory we're using soon, because I've just taken it for granted that I'm never going to run out of memory. But I mean, we've got whopping amounts of data here now, with all the levels coming in. And well, where is the level data? Oh yeah, BG. I mean, BG is pretty huge. That's a lot of bytes, isn't it? Yeah, thanks Moz. Thanks everyone for watching. I will be getting going in a sec. I can't think of anything else to do realistically in this short space of time. Tomorrow I'm going to come on fairly early, but I will have done something on my copy of this. I'm going to make a copy and then add to it, so that I'll have something in the background, you know, as a safety net. What I'll probably do is draw a load of sprites. Like I want an exit sign that flashes up above the door, so I'll do like a black and white one of them, and then we'll come up with a routine that changes the attributes, makes it look like a flashing. In fact, let's make it really flash and make it like flash like a sign. Mum again. Ah. My friend at school, who I'm no longer in touch with, unfortunately, because he was a really sound dude, but he had the internet when no one did, and he used to get me. He also had a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo with a disk drive, so he had like, oh, he just blew me away, you know. He plugged his floppy disk into his Nintendo, and he had like 25 games on each disc or whatever. And he used to get me Amiga games. I had an Amiga. I also had a PC. He used to get me PC games for free. And Spectrum, because when I first met him, people were still playing Spectrum. Great times. I love reliving those times. Pretty much what we're doing here, isn't it? Can't wait to have a full game with flashing colours, the lot. Let's have one little glimpse at it. In fact, what I'm going to do is, just while we wind up and chat, I'm going to leave that on the screen because I want a thumbnail of it with the new Mikie. We haven't got him yet. Can I get him to dance? Yeah, there we go. Alright, I'll leave him there for a bit. Hopefully it'll give me an option for a thumbnail then. Oh, mate, I didn't get the internet until 1999, and even then it was dial-up, and I never used it. I used to download a couple of songs on SoulSeek. No, it wasn't SoulSeek back then. I don't know what I was actually using, but it began with an S. That's before Napster came out. Because Napster was like the first big illegal company to actually become legit, wasn't it? Like they basically specialised in fully illegal downloads. It suddenly went legit. You're dead right there, Vulcan. Everyone's like it though, isn't it? It caught hold everyone. That's where Facebook, even like in the past, girls and that wouldn't be that into computing. Suddenly they're all addicted to the PC with Facebook and that. I mean, my little sister, who's 1 year younger than me, she was always into my Spectrum, but she'd play it with me for like 20 minutes, and then I'd be on it for like 5 hours. But now she's she's always on social media. It's been a sort of unproductive session, but it's been a really fun one, and also we have produced some stuff. I can't quite remember what other than this level where it gets out, but I'm sure there was. There was one other thing. I love how quick that's working. Do you know how some of my games were feeling laggy? This feels really quick. It's really nice to play already. I could play that. We'll have to add some joystick inputs. Yeah, no, it's really good of you all to come and chat. I hope I've hit that 5 target now, where I get 5 chatters. And I'm going to be on tomorrow in the day. I'm going to close it down now. It's been 2.5 hours. So I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Come and join me again as soon as you can. I'll be on here every day near enough. So I look forward to seeing all of you again. Have a good night. Bye bye.